Hi everybody. Let me get some headphones. You can see the process of trying to walk in here. Okay. You got any headphones up here, GR Dad?
Yeah.
If you need them, let me know. Hi Brody. Hi Buck. Alright, let me back to my spot here. Hi Hops. Oh my gosh. Hang on. Alright, I think. Okay. You got me on the audio a little bit better. So this morning, and we are like most of the way through North Carolina. I'll wait to see a mile marker, but we probably have 40 miles left in North Carolina. Hopper's very waggy because there's like the sun's coming in this way, reflecting off my phone screen, and it's like putting a little light over here, and she would like to catch it. So yeah, St. Patrick, he just kind of walks around the whole time to keep him from falling in the stairs over there. Come here, Guac. And he's like, heck no, lady. So yeah, if you guys have like questions you want us to answer, go ahead and send those. Excuse me. Sorry in advance. You have to look at my feet. Guac, how you doing? He's pretty good. He's actually really good in the RV. Very stable. Good snuggle partner. The trip takes 20 hours about. I guess it's like 18 hours of driving. Excuse me. And then, between stops for gas and whatever else. Let's see. CBGB does not have a song yet. I'm still trying to come up with one. I am not coming around to loving RV life. It's definitely easier to have all these dogs in the RV than in a car, but GR Dad started off driving this morning, and I was it's just a little anxious. So yeah, someone asked about the visitor. Caramel was just visiting last night. Like, her owners dropped her off while they were running some errands because she likes it at our house. So she was just there for a few hours. So I was hoping Vink would be calmer, and I mean, clearly she's fine right now. When we got in this morning, she was still freaking out. So like, that's part of why I felt so gross, because like, if I sit up in the currently unoccupied passenger seat, everything's fine. But Vink was crawling all over everybody and totally freaked out, so I had to like sit back here with her, and I just was not feeling it this morning. What do you think, Sweez? You doing good? Yeah, GR Dad and I take turns driving. So he drove for probably the first close to an hour, and I was really tired because we got up so early, but I felt so motion sick that I was like, I need to take over. So I drove for about an hour, and then I was so tired that it was not safe for me to drive. So he took it back, and I got into bed back there and managed to take a nap for like 2 hours. So now I feel much better. Yeah, so St. Patrick, you can see his butt right now is against this little cushion that we've put in place, because behind that are the stairs that go out the door, and it's full of stuff. You can kind of see we've got pillows, and there's like bags in there. He manages to get his butt in that hole all the time. He falls in there, and then he freaks out when we try to get him out. So now we have this little barrier, and once we're back home in the Keys, I'm gonna go to Home Depot and like build a like plywood no slip thing to cover that hole up when we're driving. So normally we kind of plan to like drive until we're sort of tired at the end of the day. And we try not to push it. Like we got up at 5 this morning and left at 6. That's something normally I would never do. I don't like to start the day tired. So we would normally probably leave around like 9 or 10 and then drive till we're tired. But usually we do it in 2 days. But I have a thing on Thursday, like a work thing, and I didn't realize it when we planned our drive back, and it kind of didn't work to come any other time. So we're going to do the whole drive today, probably, and we should get in at 1 or 2 this morning. I did not skip the bug bombs. The one thing I remembered to do before we left at 6 this morning was to put the bug bombs in the house. Yeah, St. Patrick, he doesn't lay down a lot. So about the Netflix show, it is not a Golden Ratio show. So there's a new show called Connected that is premiering on August 2nd. And it's sort of a science and nature kind of show. And so I think it's going to be 6 episodes, and one of the episodes is about Benford's Law, which is this very cool kind of math thing. And I've done some research on it, and so they reached out to me and asked me to be on, and they came out last summer and spent like literally a full day, 12 hours filming with us, some of it at our house and then some of it at a park. And it was, I want to say Riley and Pops, maybe. I don't remember which dogs came with, but there were 3 dogs, maybe Queso, and they came and filmed in it. It's mostly me talking about my research, though. They filmed a ton of cool action shots with all the dogs. So anyway, yesterday they announced that the show is finally dropping. So if you go look it up on Netflix, and I think it's worldwide, like people in Europe have said that they can see it on their thing. So it's called Connected. Latif Nasser is the host, and one of the episodes is on Benford's Law, and that's my episode. So there's a couple other researchers. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm told that I'm pretty heavily featured in there. Yeah, so it is similar to Connections, which was an amazing British show that I used to watch like reruns of when I was a kid. It's not exactly the same idea where they kind of connect to this whole thread through like all the way back to the beginning, at least not as far as I can tell. But it's a similar kind of idea, looking at how, cloud computing and, say, weather is related, and how all these things tie together. So, yeah, it seems, from the description that they gave me, it seems like it's got a kind of similar feel to Connections, but, much more modern. Like, Latif is super cool. He's a producer for Radiolab, if you've listened to that on NPR. And he's just like super fun in interviews, really cool guy to talk to. So, yeah. So anyway, you can, excuse me, if you go to Netflix and search for Connected and put like a remind me, it'll add it to your list when it comes out at the beginning of August. Guaco Man is right there. Good job, Guac. He's just kind of taking that whole spot to sleep in. Pops, what do you think? So yeah, a bunch of you have asked about Guac's training. It went pretty well, actually. He spent basically 5 days working with our trainer. So I would just drop him off in the morning, and then he would stay there all day and train, and I'd pick him up when he got tired at like 2 or 3. And it's really helped. So we'll talk about it on the next podcast, but we've worked on a whole bunch of stuff with his recall, and he's definitely far from perfect now, but we've got like a good training plan, and he's definitely like picked up some more on it since we started. So it was totally worth it, and the trainer is so good. So if you're in the DC area, it's Mike Kelly at Old Town Pet Resort. Give him a call. They're up in North Bethesda / Rockville. Swizz is doing real good. She's nice and relaxed. And then CBGB is up in front like normal. Patrick is finally laid down. That's good. Yeah, St. Patrick does not really like dog food. We have tried everything. We like literally go buy out all the canned food that they have in the store. And we found a few kinds that he sort of likes, but he doesn't like them as well as human food. And so spaghetti seems to be really reliable for some reason. He had spaghetti for breakfast this morning. Our personalized collars are from Orvis, and they've just had them there forever. They're really great. And then we have some harnesses. So Vink has gotten a little better, but I used to have to walk her on a harness. So we probably have 5 or 6, but everyone does kind of okay on just the collars at this point. Work from home has kind of not been much of a tradition, or not much of a transition for us. GR Dad eventually will open an office in Key West for his law firm, but he was always kind of working at home since we went down to the Keys, like in November. And then I just teach online. So I had been teaching online before the pandemic, so I didn't really have to do anything to transition my classes. And I normally am teaching online because I'm traveling so much for like keynote speaking and that sort of thing. Obviously, I'm not doing any of that right now, but it has made that transition pretty seamless. And you know, at least half my meetings I would do on Zoom or WebEx, even pre-pandemic. So it hasn't been a huge change. I guess I'm lucky that I haven't had the stress of trying to transition it. Yes. Top Jimmy 58, 44 seconds into the trailer on Connected, that's me talking about Benford's Law. And I think you can see I'm sort of reaching down with my right hand. I'm petting a dog with that hand. So Hannah asked, do I like teaching in person or online better? If I just had like a sort of more leisurely life, I definitely like the experience of in-person teaching. Like I feel like there's something there that you can't really replicate online. But, you know, given how much other stuff I'm doing, like online teaching is very stressful for me just because of the, like scheduling, right? Where it's like I need to be in the classroom twice a week, but then, you know, they want me to fly to California and talk to 10,000 people on the Tuesday when I'm supposed to be in class. Like that's really hard for me to manage. So I've spent a lot of time learning to teach online well, and there's a ton of good like educational research on how to do that and like get people engaged. And so, you know, I have people switch from in-person sections of classes that we offer to my face-to-face or to my online sessions, even though they don't have to take the class online because they like the way I do it online better. So, you know, I think like I totally get why people prefer to go to class in person, but I think if you have an instructor that knows how to do it, you can get a lot out of it doing it online. And certainly like that's something that's been around for a long time for graduate students, you know, who have to work and then, you know, can't necessarily show up somewhere. Or like in Maryland, we're a relatively small state, and so we have, I think ours is the only program where you can get a library science degree, which is not my field, but we offer a degree in that because we've got those people. And so it's the only place in the state you can get the degree. And so if you live 3 hours from College Park, there's no way you could come and get that. So offering that degree online is good. So we've kind of learned how to do it. So yeah. Sure, ahead of the curve. I had a little, you know, battle to get to teach just SISM, and then the pandemic. I mean, Swizz is doing good. She, the medicine that we've started her on seems to have helped. I mean, she's pretty relaxed now, but she's still, you know, that's just because she's in the car. She's a little panty. But yeah, the gabapentin especially, which is like a nerve blocking pain reducer, that has helped. So we think probably some of the arthritis was making her uncomfortable at night. So we got Hops is now very relaxed over here. Good job, Hops. Vink finally settled in. So the plan for the situation between like the Keys and Maryland without the pandemic is that like GR Dad would be based with the dog in the Keys, and then I would kind of split my time half and half. So I would be up on campus a couple weeks out of every month, doing my meetings and all the stuff I have to do in person there. And then, a lot of time normally I'm traveling. In the fall, I mean, I was on the road, I think every single week I was flying somewhere. So usually that's 2 days, right? I fly out one day, I give a talk the next day and fly home. And so, the idea was when I've got some of that stuff and I don't have anything to do on campus in between, then I would be in Florida. So I'd kind of be splitting my time half and half. But yeah, I mean, this trip up to our house in Maryland is the first time I have left the Keys since the first week of March because of the pandemic. So we're just going to see how it goes. I mean, for now, the plan is just stay in the Keys, and this trip up was to kind of see the doctor and the doctor and the dentist and everything. So we'll probably go up every few months just to check in on everything up there. So Amy asked if I like the travel with work. I do, but I kind of have it engineered to be as enjoyable as possible. So it's almost all the travel I do is speaking, like giving keynotes at big conferences. So they basically hire me to come in and give that keynote talk. They fly me out. And so you put together a rider, kind of like a rock band has, of your requirements, and I don't have anything weird. I just require that you have first class or business class airfare to do it. And so the situation with it is like, so if I have to go give a talk at a conference, I will usually drive myself to the airport, but they will send a car if I want them to. Like I kind of turn that option down. And then I fly, business class to wherever I'm going. A car like meets me with a little sign at the escalator by baggage claim, takes me to my hotel. I do the stuff, like all my expenses are paid for at the hotel, so I could run up big room service bills if I want to, but I don't. And then, I do my talk, and then a car picks me up at the hotel and brings me back to the airport. And yeah, so it's as humane as it can get traveling like that. And yes, I travel very light. I have never checked luggage in my life, even when I've traveled for like 3 weeks. It's a kind of weird source of pride for me to not pack much, and especially because I do it so often, I'm really efficient. So like I've just got like all the, I can kind of keep the bag packed and just switch out dirty stuff for clean stuff. I have a set of PJs. I've got a full set of running gear just for travel that kind of lives in my bag most of the time if I have time. I never say no to speaking events because they pay extremely well. I mean, for free ones, sure, I say no to the ones that don't pay all the time. But yeah, it's a lot of money. And I am not in a position where I can turn down a big pile of money just because I like staying home. I mean, I guess I could, but I'm a little more committed to the hustle than that. So Christine asks what COVID precautions you're taking when you travel. I mean, I'm not traveling for work at all now. I would not get on a plane at this point unless it were a kind of matter of life and death. So I guess that's a precaution. But on this trip, I mean, this is another thing that the RV has been really great about, where, we have, so like that's our fridge and our freezer, we have an oven, this is the bathroom, and so we don't have to go in anywhere, like the fridge is totally full. So literally like the only time we even come close to other people is putting gas in the car, and you're not going inside, you're not talking to people, and we've got masks that we always put on when we leave the car. So You want to see what's in the fridge? Sure. That'll give me an excuse to get up. I block. Basically all the groceries that we bought and are bringing back. So this is St. Patrick's spaghetti and queso that I made last night. Yeah, so we're good on groceries when we get back to the Keys. Hops, you've been requested to receive a boop on the schnoop. Good job. My recipe for queso at this point is pretty easy. So a pound of American cheese, like from the from the deli. Like about 1 cup of beer. Like light beer is good, but something not like something like an IPA, like a non-bitter one, and like 2 cans of canned chilies. That's it. Just put it all in a pan and put it on medium and stir it all nice and smooth. So for grocery shopping, there's no grocery delivery in the Keys, or at least not to us because we're so far out. So I go to the store for that. But in Maryland, I did not go to the store. We got everything delivered. There aren't really any alliances in the squad. I mean, Hops and Vink are very close, but everybody kind of gets along and loves each other. Everybody likes GR Dad best, except for who I think likes me best, and Guac maybe likes me a little bit better now, but yeah, they all gravitate to him. When I'm in the house and he comes home, they all abandon me. Frankly, if he's in the house and I come home, they look at me for a second and then just go back to him. Yeah, Hops and Vink are definitely a bonded pair for sure. What country do I really want to visit? The top of my list of places I have not visited is Australia, and it's definitely going to happen. You know, GR Dad kind of grew up there. He lived there from when he was 4 until 8 or 9, and I have always, like my whole life, even when I was a little kid, wanted to go. So we've just got to find the timing to do it. We were actually thinking maybe we would be doing it kind of this past winter. Or if not then, next winter, but you know, who knows with COVID. So once things are back to normal, top of our list is to spend a couple weeks in Australia. I have used the stove, or I used the oven. I made a pizza when we were on the way up. When do I think things will be back to normal? That's a good question. I am trying to be an optimist about getting a vaccine in like December or January, and then I think, you know, we'll get there pretty fast. I mean, the one thing that I think is going well at this point is that they're producing, you know, hundreds of millions of vaccines before we even know that they work. So, you know, the good thing is if they do work, then we'll have a ton of them as soon as the results are out. So, yeah, I mean, I think we could maybe get next summer. But yeah, fall of 2021. That seems reasonable to me. I mean, I'm signed up actually to do one of the clinical trials for the Moderna vaccine. I don't know if I'm going to get it, but I volunteered to take it, so I am going to be first in line to get that, and then everything will be better. You're right, we are probably getting close to south of the border, and it's going to be out this window, so when we pass it, I will totally show it for those of you who haven't seen it. Let's see. I'm trying to see what exit we're at. We're at mile marker 20, so we got 20 miles to go until south of the border. So if you go to the CDC or the National Institutes of Health website, there are links to sign up for clinical trials. And I've actually done like other clinical trials of drugs and stuff before. So yeah, it's kind of interesting. I've never done any, for anything super dangerous, but yeah, you can sign up for them. I got an email, I think, because I had volunteered for a different study related to COVID, and they emailed and asked if I wanted to be on that list, so I registered. We're not doing a loofah plant this year, just because we're not up in Maryland all that much, and it kind of took over the house last year. Hey, Giordad, the internet says hi. Giordad says hi back. How you doing, St. Patrick? Looking pretty good. My favorite vegetarian dinner, I mean, it's like my favorite dinner, right? Because like I only eat vegetarian food. I don't know, like it's hard because we have really eaten a lot of world-class dinners, right? Like that's the main thing we do when we travel is find the best restaurant in the country and go there, and that's what we spend our money on when we're traveling. So I've had some really amazing ones, but like just whatever, if I'm having something kind of normal and not like the most fancy, I really like Spanish food, so like patatas bravas and like tortilla de patatas or tortilla española, like love that kind of stuff. So I could just eat tapas all the time. That's probably my favorite. He can see his reflection in the oven, but there's a mirror right there, so he walks in the way right now, but St. Patrick does get up there sometimes. How many countries have I visited? I don't know. A lot. I mean, I have a friend that we've mentioned on the podcast, Jason, who's been to every country, so I haven't been to that many. I've been to most of Europe except Scandinavia. I saw there was a question if I'd been to Norway, so I haven't been to Finland, Norway, or Sweden. I've been to Iceland, which is about as close as I got. I would love to go up there, though. I mean, I would love to go to Scandinavia and tour around. And there's actually, Finland especially, there's a ton of really, really good computer science researchers there, and we often have conferences there, so I just haven't been to any of those, but I'm sure I will be. But I think I've been to all the rest of Western Europe except for Spain and Portugal. And we actually had booked a trip there in the spring of 2017, but that was when Trump was sort of taking away people's green cards and detaining people coming into the country, and Giordad wasn't a U.S. citizen at that point, and so even though he wasn't really on the target list, we didn't want to risk it, so we canceled that trip until his citizenship came through. And then I've been to a decent amount of Eastern Europe, a few places in Asia, Singapore, Japan, South Korea. And then Ecuador is, I think, the only place I've been in South America for a trip to the Galapagos. So a lot of our favorite restaurants still aren't open back up in DC. They're doing a very good job with their COVID management and being really careful. So Haleo is sort of our standard, and the one there's 3 locations I think around DC, and the one we normally go to is open. We went to the one downtown, but they've kind of a limited menu compared to normal, or at least some stuff has changed. So yeah, so we went there, and we were able to eat outside on the patio, and we did like a 5 o'clock reservation, so we were the only ones there, and we had a couple that we did like that, and then a ton of takeout, which is still nice. And that's another one where there's a decent number of like academics, so I'm sure we'll end up there at some point, but not yet. The squad likes fruit just fine. Like when I'm cutting up apples, they'll happily, especially Swizz, happily will eat apple slices. Yeah, it's a weird, like, there's a question, is Vink nervous in the car? She's not at all. Like, this is how she normally is in the car, but it took her like 6 hours to get like this in the RV. Hops is normally really nervous in the car, but as you can see, she is very relaxed in the RV. And sorry if the connection sucks. We're in the middle of nowhere, North Carolina, so, you know, you're getting whatever kind of cell signal. What made me want to be a vegetarian? Are we back? I think we just went through like a dead spot. Okay, good. Yeah, I mean, we're just getting like whatever cell signal we have in the middle of nowhere. So sorry if it cuts out. I know how annoying that is to listen to. So yeah, I think the last question I was answering is what made me become a vegetarian, and like it's totally an animal welfare thing for me. And I had kind of off and on tried it, and then in 2000 I was doing a road trip with my boyfriend. We were driving Route 66 like from Chicago to LA, and somewhere in like Oklahoma it was like 110 degrees, and we stopped at this truck stop, and like there was like heat waves radiating off the asphalt, and there was a like tractor trailer parked on it full of cows, and it was the saddest thing I had ever seen in my entire life. Like these poor cows just stuck in this box in the blazing heat, and that was it. Like that, I never ate meat again after that, because I was just like, it's so terrible, I can't deal with it. So that was, you know, it's been 20 years, I guess. I grew up with golden retrievers, and we had one black lab, but the rest Goldens, and so, you know, I've definitely inherited that. I do not miss the taste of meat. It's interesting. So I've talked on the podcast, I think I had a B12 deficiency back in 2012, which you can get if you aren't eating enough animal products, basically, or you're not taking enough supplements. And I thought I was, and I wasn't. And it was really serious. Like I thought I was maybe going to die. And so I was like, okay, like if I have to eat meat to get better, let's do it. And so I was like, what are the things I think I miss? Like I really miss lobster tail. I really miss like a good cheeseburger. And so I tried to eat those. I, you know, had both of them very well prepared, and like could not even swallow them. They just tasted so foreign and wrong after, you know, whatever, at that point, 12 or 13 years without eating any meat. So, and yeah, like now, like the Beyond Burgers and the Impossible Burgers, like they are really good. I mean, they taste like I remember cheeseburgers tasting. Like they're juicy and wonderful. So yeah, it's easy to not even notice that you don't have any meat anymore. I gotta say, I don't know any real border collies. I mean, I've met some and they seem good, but I've never like hung out. So I take B12 supplements now. I do like sublingual supplements. I was doing knots for a while, but as long as I take the little pills every day, I do good. Yeah, corn is really good. Like with the Q, that's a fake meat product. Their stuff is really tasty. She is very comfy and soft. Yeah, you're a very soft dog. Yeah, everybody up here is really mellow. That's good. All right, we got the whole squad finally sleeping. Oh yeah. Yeah, so a couple of people asked about dogs when you don't have a yard. I mean, I've definitely had dogs in an apartment. Not this many, but I've had two for a long time in an apartment, and it was way easier once I had a little yard I could just let them out into to pee. But I think as long as I think it might be hard, like in a city where there's not a lot of green space near your apartment. But yeah, I mean, I think you just find that rhythm of how often you have to take them out, and it's fine. I mean, especially for Goldens, like the space doesn't matter. You can have a 200 square foot apartment, and they just want to be sitting where you are. So they don't need a lot more space. It's just having to leash them and take them out is a little bit of a pain, but it's worth it. A 6 the limit of dogs. I mean, I said 5 was the limit at one point, and now we have 6. But it's there are difficulties with 6. Like it's hard to make sure they all get all the attention they need, and we trip over them a lot. They take up a lot of space. So yeah, it'd be tricky with 7, but who knows, if the right one comes along. We're not saying no to anybody. JR Dad's doing a great job driving today. I think Vink is probably the softest. I've got it on my to-do list to do Blair Braverman's sled dog softness index with all the squad. JR Dad got his citizenship, I think, in 2017. Road and Lodi update. We haven't weighed him since we were up in Maryland, but he's been pretty consistent. I would guess he's down to 95. So it's coming along. It's just going to be like with Vink, her weight loss was, I think, like a 6-month project, and it'll probably be like that for him. JR Dad is from Germany originally, so he little, and then he moved and came to the U.S. when he was 12, and when he was 16, his parents decided they were going to move back to Germany, and he said he didn't want to go, so he stayed here. He went into boarding school, and has been here since then. He went to Harvard, went to law school here. He did go back to Germany for 1 year to join the German army, which was, I don't know if it's compulsory now, but it was at that point. JR Dad just turned to the mirror so he can look at me. How's it going, JR Dad? Oh, here we got that's like our double over there. Nice. JR Dad is from Wolfsburg originally. What state is Wolfsburg in? Lower Saxony? Yeah. We have someone from Hessen who says hi. St. Patrick is kind of he's adjusting to the squad. We think he's got some dementia, which is not uncommon in older dogs. Swizz, we think, has some too, and Queso and Jasmine both had a little bit of it. He just doesn't connect with everybody quite as much as a normal dog would. He's in his head a little bit, so he's still really happy, but he doesn't always know exactly what's going on. So he's doing pretty good though. How old are we? I am 43 and JR Dad is 52. And yeah, we are pulling the Jeep. Let's see if I can show you the Jeep and the Guacamole. How's it going, Guac? You good? All right. There's our Jeep. You can see we got the little hookup down there. pretty good. Hi everyone. I have a better vantage point on all of you from over here. This is St. Patrick's mirror in the RV, and he has definitely used it. Swizz is doing good, much better since she started on her new medicine. Oh, sorry, I guess the connection died on the Jeep. There you go. I have been all over Canada, and Jared has been there a lot too. Jared's daughter goes to UBC, so he has most recently been spending his time in Vancouver. But yeah, I go to Canada for a lot of work stuff. What you doing there, Hops? Kim, I don't think I got your message yet, but I know there's a couple that were still at the UPS place before we left, so it could be waiting there for us. I've been all over the UK too, yeah. It's a really easy place to go. We kind of randomly brush the dogs. So like there's brushing every day, but sometimes it's like I'll brush half of Vink and then she doesn't want to roll over, and so I'll get the other half some other time. Yeah, when COVID's over, we're definitely going to do some more something. I don't know if we'll do like more live shows or... Oh my gosh, okay, hang on, this is important. Okay, so for those of you who have not had the joy of driving 95 south from North Carolina into South Carolina, there are signs for like 100 miles for south of the border, and we are now approaching south of the border, which is like a 1950s subtly racist style like spot. It has a motel, it has like an alligator pen. You'll be able to see soon, it's got this giant sombrero. So it's like part amusement park, part truck stop, gift stores. That's it. Yeah, and they used to have super racist signs, and now they're slightly less racist. But if you make it a theme based on someone's country, you're always... Hi, CV. Nice to see you up. I think it's unlikely that I would get another puppy at this point. Look, just because like the Fosters come housebroken pretty much all the time. So housebreaking a puppy is not a thing I ever want to do again. I do not have a voice coach. They probably would talk me out of some of my weird Midwesternisms that creep in there. I have not flown commercially with the dogs. We did a private flight with them for the Chicago show, so we managed to like talk some people into flying us out on a Learjet, which was pretty amazing. It also a tight fit with all the dogs and people, but no, I mean you have to put them in like cargo, and it's too scary for me. Swizz takes Clomicalm as her antidepressant. I don't remember what like the chemical name is for that, but it's a regular tricyclic antidepressant. Clomicalm is the like brand name, and I think it's one that's used for humans also. So there's a question: have our follows or interactions increased dramatically since quarantine? They've actually gone down, which is interesting. I think after like the first month of quarantine, people just kind of wanted a break, and so like our our follower count has kind of continued at its normal rate of increase, but like we get fewer likes than we did before. Yeah, I say "ope" like 50 times a day. We did not record our rules podcast yesterday. Like, since we realized we were going to have to leave first thing in the morning, we spent all of yesterday packing. So, yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people just had other stuff to do besides focus on us. And schedules changed. So, yeah, I'm gonna try to get back to some of the sunsets. It's mostly just that like I've been busy. Like everything kind of slowed down in the first month or so of quarantine, and now it's picked back up a bit. So there are times when I think about it, and it's just like, oh, I've got to finish this email or work on this paper or whatever. We kind of mostly are quarantined all the time in the Keys anyway. Like the only thing we go out for basically is groceries. And I run, but like I don't ever see anybody when, yeah. And we both took COVID tests and just got our results in, and we were negative both for like COVID virus and for antibodies. So we were in pretty good shape. We haven't been close to anybody, so I think we're okay. Yes, the University of Maryland is the place with the cows. We call them portals. Yeah, if you have not seen this thing they have done. So the University of Maryland is a land-grant university, which means it was like set up and it has a focus on agriculture. We still have an ag school, and there's a farm on campus, and the farm has animals, and some of those animals are cows, and they have surgically added a portal into the side of the cow. You open up a little door, and then you can reach into the cow's stomach. I'm sure this is for research. I don't understand it, but yes, if you come for like our big campus open house, which is Maryland Day, you can see the cows with the portals in their stomachs, and it's a very strange thing. Yeah, cow holes indeed. So weird. I will occasionally like bring a dog to campus. Like if I have had them at the vet or something and want to swing by, like I'll just bring them with me. But I don't know, they all get a little bit nervous. So it's easier to just leave them at home with everybody else. Right, Bink? So we just went back to Maryland for a while because, one, if we can live in tropical paradise, why not live there? We went back to go see like our doctors and everything, but okay, are we back? Okay, good. I was in a film a couple months ago. Is the film almost done? I know. So that project that I was filming in November is a three-parter, and we filmed two parts in November, and we were going to film the third part in Europe in March. That obviously didn't happen, and so now we're not allowed. We Americans are not allowed to go to Europe. Good move, Europe. That is the right decision. And so the project is sort of stuck, I think, trying to figure out what they're going to do for the third part. So I haven't had a lot of other details. I think they're just kind of working through it. But yeah, when that's done, I'll let you know. But I think it was supposed to be out this summer, and we're not even finished filming it yet. I've had some students who are Golden Ratio fans. but plenty of them don't know what it is, which is also fine. This is a good question, Chloe. I don't know if we're allowed to go to any country at this point, not just Europe. I have extremely mixed feelings about NHL and MLB. Like, on one hand, I've got a timer set for the first Cubs game this week, and I'm looking forward to having something to watch. But I don't know if it's like the wisest idea. Very good squeeze. So yeah, like for me, sports is going to be great for the players, and like the coaches and the staff and everything. I don't know. It seems a little unsafe, and like the plans aren't great. But I hope I'm just being pessimistic, and it's going to be okay. Swizz is using Hops as a pillow. Hops does not mind. Cubs fan, yes. I grew up in Chicago, or outside Chicago, so Cubs fan from like birth. And then Caps fan because I learned to love hockey when I was in DC. No, I mean, I agree about the NHL, like having the two hub cities and having a bubble. It definitely seems safer than like what baseball is doing, where those players are flying around. Like I saw something that's like, oh, if a player gets sick with COVID, when they're visiting, that the team that they're visiting will treat them the same as they would treat their own players, and they've got like hotels for COVID quarantine, and it's just, man, it's tough. What do you think, Hops? You don't mind. I have heard of the giant golden retriever party in Scotland. If we could just pop over there and get another private flight with all the dogs and not have to go through quarantine, that'd be great. We would totally go. You're very odd. Would you like a swivel boop? That's good. Thank you. Giordad has not tried to open the Key West office yet, since everything has really been shut down in Key West. So I think once we're a little more out of the pandemic and his law firm figures out what their caseload's going to look like, then he'll pick back up with that. That's very nice. Hops, thanks. Normally I don't get carsick sitting on this bench, though. I gotta say, like, looking at the screen to answer all of your questions is not helping with that all that much. So we'll probably end the live stream in a little bit. So Giordad is he does litigation. So he's an attorney. He does litigation, and his current firm negotiations when the insurance won't pay out on hurricane claims and flood claims and that sort of thing. So that's obviously why they want an office in the Keys, because we got plenty of those kinds of cases. I played D&D once, and it was fine, but like I didn't get super into it, and so I never got roped in my younger life. The T in Hopper T stands for the. It's Hopper the dog, or Hopper T dog, or a little bit short. Yeah, it's going to be my turn to drive soon, I think. Giordad has been doing a good job. When I was in Maryland, I would run with a buff around my neck. So I was pretty isolated most of the time, but if there were other people around, I would kind of pull that up. So the Keys are generally easier because there's just way less people around. and except in Key West now you have to wear a mask even when you're outside your house, even if nobody else is around. So I got a new running hat that's got like a built-in mask kind of shield on the front that hopefully will go okay. My favorite length of race to run in terms of just like what I have the most fun at is probably a 50K, so 5 miles longer than a marathon. Like I feel like I'm doing something epic, but it's a distance that's not really hard for me. So those are pretty good. I think Giordad has work to do, so they want you to continue the live stream when I finish, but I think you got shit to do. Giordad says no, he will not take over the live stream. All right. Well, I am gonna like speak. Yeah, of course it cuts out right when I'm saying goodbye. Anyway, glad you got to see south of the border with us and hang out with everybody, being super mellow. Everybody's very relaxed right now, and yeah. We'll do some more live streams soon. Bye.